All hail Biafra! This is Biafra Liberation Army Network coming to you again. Please like, share, and comment.
My name is Uche Chigeme Anyawototuni Okukana, and by the special grace of God, I work as a transformational life coach and advocate for human dignity and consciousness. And I will speak to you through the lens of consciousness. Through this lens, I will address why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's current detention location is unsafe and the urgent need for his immediate transfer to a secure and accessible facility. How global voices and institutions can intervene as we intensify our conscience-based appeal, message grounded in justice and humanity to His Holiness, the Pope, the EU, that is the European Union, the United States government, and the international human rights law. And we will also address the advance in the journey of our people's liberation, and finally the quality of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's legal team. Before I proceed, I want to thank every voice that has risen in condemnation, calling out the unjust conviction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, far and wide, from every non-Nigerian, Nigerian at home and abroad. I deeply appreciate every hand across the world that has written against this injustice. Thank you. Thank you. Tonight, I come before you not simply as a wife yearning for her husband's freedom from unjust conviction, nor as a mother hoping to lift the weight from her children scattered across the four corners of the earth and from generations yet to come. I stand here as a voice for justice itself and for consciousness. A wife whose husband's life is in danger. A wife whose family has been denied access, dignity, and safety. A wife who refuses to be silent while injustice is dressed up as law. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. He is a husband. He is a father. He is a son, a brother, a friend, and above all, a human being. I speak not only to Nigerians, Biafrans, or a specific group, but I speak to the conscience of the world. As we know, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been unjustly convicted and transferred to Sokoto prison, a detention location that exposes him to severe security risks. This relocation is not neutral or safe. It places his life in danger. And the key reasons I believe that Sokoto is seen as unsafe are based on security risks. Apart from the concern on distance from his legal team and family, Sokoto prison was described as a protective facility by Omotosho after Abuja's Kuje prison was deemed unsafe due to past prison breaks. However, eyewitnesses reported unusual military presence and heavy security around the Sokoto Custodial Center, which has been interpreted as evidence of heightened danger. I also look at the step of isolation and secrecy. His transfer was carried out quietly, with officials refusing to confirm details of his exact location. Activists like Omoyele Sowore and myself criticized the secrecy, saying it increases the risk of mistreatment. Another step is the political and ethnic tension. Sokoto is in Nigeria's far north, a region with strong cultural and political differences from Igbo Base in the southeast. Placing him there is not only punitive but also exposes him to hostility in an environment far removed from a central access point. And do not forget the heavy presence of terrorists who are currently pillaging the peace and lives of people are there. Another step is his health. I have the health concerns, or I have the concerns for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's health. Most importantly, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu requires special medical care. His heart is deteriorating. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has heart issues. Hence, moving him to Sokoto was a veiled plot to deny him access to his personal physicians and proper medication, which endangers his life. In summary, Sokoto is seen as unsafe for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and we believe the relocation increases the risk to his life and undermines his right to fair trial and medical care. And as his wife, I am asking a simple, moral and lawful question. How can any government justify placing a non-violent prisoner in an environment where his safety cannot be guaranteed, and where his family and legal team are effectively stifled? I am calling respectfully but firmly for his immediate transfer to a secure facility where his life is not at risk. His family can access him, his doctors can access him, his legal rights are respected, and human dignity is upheld. I move on to the global voices and the institutions that can help play a decisive role in pressing for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's safety and release, and the release of all our brothers and sisters still held in various prisons, hidden away in various prisons. The key is to intensify the mobilization of international advocacy campaigns, diplomatic pressure, and human rights mechanisms that Nigeria cannot easily ignore. Human rights such as United Nations Working Group that issue opinions and African Union. Recall, do not forget that the United Nations Human Rights Council and Working Group on Arbitrary Detention investigated Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case and issued their opinion declaring his kidnap unlawful. But the Nigerian government ignored that. That is one of the pointers that the government has already determined on the fate of a man who speaks truth to power. Neither did the UK government work with that. They completely ignored that. Most importantly, diplomatic pressure to go on foreign governments. The UK, EU, and the United States can raise his case in bilateral talks, conditioning aid or cooperation on Nigeria's respect for human rights. Another is the global civil society and faith leaders, churches and religious leaders, such as the Pope of the Papal State of the Vatican, World Council of Churches, and African bishops, such as Bishop Mike Ewonu, who has already begun. He was on AIT today, or speaking about his visit, or narrating his visit to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Another is the NGOs and advocacy groups, such as Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and Christian Solidarity Worldwide, can also amplify reports of mistreatment, mobilizing global campaigns. The diaspora networks, legal and judicial avenues. We can look at the international court. Though Nigeria is not under the jurisdiction of the ICC for this case, but petitions can still be filed to highlight crimes against humanity if persecution is proven. Every lawyer within the consciousness of the travesty of justice by Omotosho must flood in petitions against him via the appropriate channels. We also have the regional courts where we can go through to the ECOWAS Court of Justice. The ECOWAS Court of Justice has jurisdiction over human rights violation, even though they have previously ruled against Nigeria in similar detention cases for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as well, but nothing has been done. We also need to look at the global media coverage and public opinions, very importantly. Silence in the face of injustice is participation. It is not neutrality, it is participation, it is complicity. History has taught us that when the world looks away, suffering deepens, but when conscience speaks, change becomes possible. Just as the United States government's consciousness has been raised, I have sent a letter to President Trump thanking him for condemning the killings of Christians in Nigeria, and you can also watch my broadcast on that. That reminds me, wishing a happy Thanksgiving to our people in the United States, even if a little belated. I'm thanking our brothers over there, Mazi Evans Wankwo and Mazi Ben, the Wankwo brothers. They have been doing a lot, pushing a lot, and we can see how much they are pushing for our people as well as for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This broadcast is my plea not for privilege, favoritism or power, but for protection, fairness and life. To every person listening to me tonight, please, your voice, our witness and conscience matters. Stand with me, not for one man alone, not just for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but for the principle that no human should be placed in harm's way by the state meant to protect life. And to the Department of State Services, the Nigeria Police Force, and all security agencies of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, this is a call for transparency and humanity across detention facilities in the country, in Nigeria. Across these detention facilities in Nigeria, men and women are being held for months and years without trial. This is disheartening. Many are said to be members of IPOB. How do you know? How can you prove that all of these people are IPOB members? Even if they are indigenous people of Biafra. Some are not members of IPOB, yet they remain locked away without due process, access, or even hope. Some are sick and many are dying. Many have died. And this is heartbreaking that some families do not even know where you have kept their people, their sons and their daughters. This inhumane treatment by security must cease. Security must not come at the cost of human life. That fact, Lord, that is fact. If there is no charge, please release them. If there is no trial, please let them go. If there is no evidence, please release them. Many of these men and women are sons and daughters. They are fathers and mothers. They are breadwinners and helpers, and above all, they are loved. Some were simply taken from their home